History of my oldest ancestors of whom I am very proud descend. Dom Vasco Martins de Resende, my 25th grandfather, noble medieval knight of the Kingdom of Portugal, nobleman of the Council of Dom Afonso IV, King of Portugal, was Lord of the Couto and Honour of Resende, and Lord of Interest and Estate of Sá, held the position of Governor of the Royal Justice in the region of Entre Douro e Minho. He was a troubadour and was the 6th grandfather of Pedro Álvares Cabral, discoverer of Brazil. Dom Vasco Martins de Resende, born in 1300, noble medieval knight of the Kingdom of Portugal, nobleman of the Council of Dom Afonso IV, King of Portugal, was Lord of the Couto and Honour of Resende, and Lord of Interest and Estate of Sá, Regdor of Royal Justice in the region of Entre Douro e Minho. He was a troubadour. He was the son of Dom Martim Vasquez Pimentel and Dona Constanca Martins de Mia, paternal grandson of Dom Vasco Martins Pimentel and Dona Maria Aines de Fornelos, and maternal grandson of Dom Martim Afonso de Baião, the one from Resende, and Dona Constanca Rodrigues de Mia. Dom Vasco Martins de Resende was a medieval noble knight of the Kingdom of Portugal and holder of the lordship of the land of Resende, a Portuguese village in the district of Viseu, North Region and sub-region of Tamega. Biography. Dom Vasco Martins de Resende held the position of Governor of the Royal Justice in the region of Entre Douro e Minho. He was also known for his artistic activity as a troubadour, mainly during the first half of the 14th century, at a time when it could be said that it was the final phase of Galician Portuguese poetry. Dom Vasco Martins de Resende received the honour of Resende, a town in the Douro Basin, by inheritance. This was the place where his maternal family came from. Dom Vasco Martins de Resende, he belonged to the council of King Dom Afonso IV of Portugal at the time of his presence at the royal court, in the second decade of the 14th century. He appears to have sided with King Dom Dinis of Portugal in the Civil War, which culminated in the Battle de Alvalade, between him and his son, the future King Dom Afonso IV of Portugal, as he was one of the two judges appointed, by the king, to enforce the final truce agreed between the two conflicting camps. Finally, when Dom Afonso IV ascends the throne, Dom Vasco Martins de Resende remains at the court, finding himself among the various Portuguese nobles who would serve as hostages during the peace treaty signed, in 1327, by the Kingdom of Portugal, by King Dom Afonso IV and part of the Kingdom of Castile by Afonso XI of Castile. Origin of the Resende. Resende, whose archaic spelling is Resende, is an onomastic surname in the Portuguese language. Of toponimic origin, it refers to the Portuguese Council of Resende, located 315 kilometers north of Lisbon, in the Douro littoral region, in the Douro River Valley. The region was conquered by Dom Rosendo Hermiges, great-grandson of the 6th King of Leon, Ramiro II, who died in 950, who took it from the Moors, adding the lands to the then Kingdom of Leon and Castile. Thus, in recognition of his bravery, King Ferdinand the Great donated part of the aforementioned lands to his conqueror around the year 1030, who became the first Christian lord to populate the region. Dom Rosendo formed his farm there and with him joined his family, though surnamed Baião, as they were descendants of Dom Egas Monaes, known as the Aioa of the first king of Portugal, Dom Afonso Henriques, and Baião derives from the superlative of Theio, in recognition of the education passed on to the then Count of Portucali. The Resendes come from Dom Arnaldo Eris de Baião, who lived at the end of the 10th century and was married to Dona Eufes, a descendant of the Visigoth kings. The custom of people adopting their place of origin as their surname became common, and as the place was known as Resende, as it was a corruption of Rosendo, it was Dom Martim Afonso de Baião, the one from Resende, grandfather maternal mother of Dom Vasco Martins de Resende, admittedly the one who transmitted the formed Resende as a nickname, taking it from the place where he was lord and possessor. Regarding the arms of the Resende, the Lusitano Armorial says, "The weapons used by the Resende are gold, with 2 black goats, dropped from the field and passing one over the other. Tambra, a shield goat. Family and descent. Dom Vasco Martins de Resende was the son of Dom Martim Vasquez Pimentel and Dona Constanca Martins de Mia. He married 3 times. The first marriage was with Dona Teresa Rodrigues Ribeiro, the second with Dona Guioma Martins de Solhes, or Avo, my 25th grandmother, from whom he had Dona Mesha Vasquez de Resende, married to Dom Martim Afonso de Melo, 5th Lord of Melo, my 24th grandparents. Finally, from his third marriage, before 1329, with Dona Mecha Vasquez de Azevedo, daughter of Dom Vasco País de Azevedo and Dona Maria Rodriguez de Vasconcelos, he had Dona Maria Vasquez de Resende, who married Fernão Aines de Porto Carreiro, Deo de Braga. Dona Teresa Vasquez de Resende, married to Dom Gil Martins de Ratade.